When water's scarce and maintenance is low, West Texas Plants is the way to go. West Texas Plants.
Hi, I'm Lico Miller, and I'm coming to you from beautiful Big Bend, Texas. I'd like to introduce you to my company, West Texas Plants, and I'd like to show you around and show you some of the wonderful, beautiful landscape plants we have here. We've been doing this since 1999, and it's about time you knew about us.
So we've been walking around your place here, seeing a lot of the plants. So what do you guys do around here that's different?
That's a great question, Will. What we do is we take plants that are sustainably harvested from ranches that we work with in our local area, and we bring them in bare root, which means there's no dirt on them. That way we can bring in a big plant, something that's mature. We bring it in, we put it in a container, and we root it out for 6 months or a year, whatever is appropriate for that plant, to make sure it's a good, viable, reestablished plant. And with that plant, you're going to be able to go right into a landscape, and it's going to work. It's not going to get dull and die, and you're not going to be, if you're a landscaper, you're not going to be hanging there going, oh my God, I hope this plant works. Because in the old days, before we started this, plants came in off of a landscape or off of a ranch or out of a field or something, and they didn't get them with the dirt. They weren't established. So you took this bare root plant, and it was kind of a crapshoot whether it was going to work. I mean, right now we ship to Holland, we ship to Spain, we ship to the East Coast, especially on the East Coast, it's real important because these plants take a certain amount of time to get established, and they used to ship semi-loads of plants back to the East Coast for people who are really interested in them. But the growing season wasn't long enough for those plants to establish. So a lot of them would die before the year came out, or they'd have to heat them through the winter, and just lots of pampering. So now they get in a containerized plant that's large, it's ready to go, and it's able to be viable.
So you said sustainably harvested. How does that work, or is there any impact to the environment?
That is a good question. That's a really good question, and it's one I'm asked a lot, especially by people that are concerned that this may be depleting the natural resources of plants here in Texas in the backcountry. And it's easily answered. We don't take all the plants. I mean, it's just simple. We only take a certain amount. You don't take really small ones because you can grow those in a nursery, so why would you do that? You don't take really big ones because they're really hard to transport. They could break, they could die, they could make it impossible to load on a truck. So you don't take the really big ones. And you don't take even across the middle, because some of those will have a bad head or have imperfections, something that is not viable for someone who's planting it. So you're only taking probably between 10, 15, 20% of a certain area's plants when you're working through it. And they are replenishing themselves at that rate or more. I mean, some of these ranches we've worked on for 15 years, and we go back every 5 to 10 years and reharvest. And we can really see our impact by doing that. So that is something that we're really concerned with, as well as the ranchers that give us access. When a rancher looks out across his land and sees these plants and goes, those are valuable, those have a price that I can get for them, then he is taking care of them, just like his cattle is valuable. I mean, it used to be a hanging offense when you stole cattle. That was a big deal. Ranchers are very, very careful with their lands and their animals, and adding plants to the list of things they're watching out for is really good. It's like having citizens out there that care whether your plants survive. So you have somebody that goes from seeing this as a nuisance plant that is perhaps impacting their cattle to a additional revenue source, and they take better care of them. So this is essentially a win-win for ranchers, landscapers, and environmentalists. I mean, if you're a die-hard environmentalist, you may not be able to accept that you harvest something from the wild. But I mean, they've been doing it with trees for years.
Middle ground there.
I mean, there's a place in the middle, and it's certainly sustainable. So I sleep well at night doing this.
When water's scarce and maintenance is low, West Texas Plants is the way to go. West Texas Plants.